It is time. Starting later today, but I did do a little bit on my own. Probably like 10 minutes before I started here. Okay. Essentially the spring has been like a serious bother for me for quite a while. There's been issues with it. At least I've been having issues with it. See, that damping factor is really strong there. Essentially, I've been working with, I guess, making these values a bit nicer together. So messing with the damping. I'm just really just testing on the stairs. I'm not sure what this slide is happening, by the way. The slide's pretty annoying. It seems like it is related to the spring. I'm not sure if it's... I mean, it's definitely the stopping friction is not all the way there. And I've just been running around trying to make sure that I can get up these stairs without knocking the main collider. Which is, you know, messing with the stiffness, messing with the damping. So it's probably just that these need to be higher. And I have a different speed calculation. I'm not calculating the displacement of the spring, I'm calculating the displacement between myself and the ground, essentially. I mean, that gives me a better spring. It means that if I walk into a wall or a small lip, I don't go flying over it. I also reworked a little bit on how the damping and the spring are computing together. So the stiffness is almost there, but see the damping kind of matches it. And I'm just thinking, you know, increasing these values slowly together is probably better. You know, having a high spring and a high damp means I should generally stay off the ground a lot better. But also to make sure that when I jump, I'm not detaching from the ground. Which it seems like I'm doing that right now. And there's also some, like, proper math you can do to compute these. Maybe that's what I should do. Where you essentially take the mass that you have to lift and you compute a stiffness and damping from a frequency value. But that only really, I think that method only really works for whatever Jolt does. And I've just been paying attention to these numbers as well. So the X is just the offset. That's the speed in meters per second. This is the spring in meters per second. That's the damping in meters per second. And these just add together now as well. this controller and look at it. But now I'm actually providing speed from character controller because this is a better... It's more accurate to give the relative ground velocity as the speed as opposed to the spring calculating its speed. Because in the event that I step up a ledge, my velocity is actually 0. But if the spring was just calculating velocity by the change in displacement, it would think, oh, I just suddenly slammed into the ground at a really high velocity. So damping would be like super high to stop my velocity. But I'm actually not moving. The mass is actually not moving. So that was causing, doing the speed calculation by measuring the difference in the offset makes the spring think it's always stuck to the ground and the mass is pressing or pulling away from it, which is not true. There are cases when the spring compresses up with the mass not even moving at all. So really it should just be like, there should be no damping there. In fact, the damping should probably, if anything, be in the opposite direction to resist the spring from expanding so quickly. So I provide that speed now directly. It can still work without it, so if you don't give it a speed, it will just compute it based on whatever it has. And then yeah, offset speed, spring, damping. So now, you know, I do this, I don't launch. I'll launch if you can see the red triangle, the collision hit, which actually will launch me, but that's a different thing entirely. That was really odd. What was that? I think it was just sliding or something. Oh, that's weird. Oh, okay. No. I understand what's happening. It is my mistake that I'm computing it like this. I should be saying if I am slipping, it should just return nothing. But in fact, that's not quite correct. It shouldn't return nothing, it should probably just return the same value. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's definitely something that I gotta just... I probably need to go ahead and say it's working well enough at the moment. I should probably just leave it and not... yeah. What can I do to fix that? It happens because I try to recalculate a better ground. But at the same time, it kind of messes with... I mean... Because the issue is I do this raycast, and technically the spring is still on that, and the spring should probably try to continue doing what it's doing. It's just that because I've done another raycast, I've kind of interrupted this process. I mean, probably what I could do is provide a normal in a safe fraction and just tell it, somehow tell it that these are the distances. Like have a set length or set normal. All right, let me do this. Maybe it should be like update collision or update state. Length would just be I guess it's max length. And then normal. I'll just do this. Okay. So this means I can do a check and I can say, you know, update state if it's a collision. And then if I can do another collision and say, okay, if I don't like that, I don't update the state. So we still use the first collision. But then if I do like the new state, then I say, all right, update that, you know, use that one now. So that's my idea. Maybe I'll just call it save state. Save state. And then if I don't like it, I can do another collision, and then if I do like it, then I can say, you know, take this as the new state. Right, so that should be good. Okay, does that work? I shouldn't like do a weird slip down this thing. I mean, there's going to be a weird... Oh, okay, so that just... Okay, so that, I think, is when... I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's more just that this cosine theta here could be the problem. You know, maybe I'm double counting it, and I shouldn't be doing that. Yeah, my thinking is this just becomes too extreme. Alright, it happened there. Maybe I just don't even account for it at all. Maybe I just try that. If I still fall into the ground, then I know it's not this. I mean, it's kind of happening, but also... Whoa, alright, so what happened there? So I'm looking at my speed. My speed should drop dramatically. I guess my speed goes up quite a lot. So I'm ending up with basically no force here for a moment. So me relative to the ground, I'm falling. The speed reads positive. Why is the speed reading positive? Maybe I don't understand what speed is reading. Alright, so I hit the ground, we're negative. I mean, yeah, it all looks okay. So it's not this. It's definitely not the cosine thing. Didn't really happen there, but it got close. There's like a dramatic drop that happens. I feel like the step isn't quite reading correctly. What's up with that? Because when I do the normal jump and I land and I settle for a bit, with this I'm like jumping, landing, and then stopping very, very quickly. So what's up with that? Okay, so it looks like there. It looks completely different. Am I not multiplying the spring force by step or something? I mean, there's no way I couldn't be. Well, that's not correct. That's the bug part. Okay. Because I'm always calling. Okay, so I think it's because the spring colliding part is wrong. I should just be saying, well, yeah, if we have floor, then we're doing spring. That's guaranteed. If we're doing floor, we have spring. Also, it's now massless. Because just the weird thing about the mass is that I just multiply it to calculate a force and then I take it away later. So it's kind of like totally useless calculation. So really I only just care if I have a spring. If I have a spring, I'm using the force. And what the spring should be doing is that it is toggling itself off when I am detached. If I do a calculate force and the length is infinite because I'm not colliding, then I say the force is 0. So I just have to at least call save state for every collision I do with it. Oh, but spring could be not updated here. I would do calculate spring force if spring and spring colliding. Otherwise, I say if we were on the floor, yeah, I should probably do spring save state here. Because this is when the spring is not colliding, so it should clear it. It'll mark it as being infinite. Okay, is this a solution? Well, okay. That was weird. Interesting. Yeah, spring velocity is really hard to get right. Because here, the velocity of -8 was correct, I suppose. But this is like the first contact point with the ground. And the offset is actually positive. So the spring says, oh, I would like to pull myself down, but then damping is saying, we need to apply a huge positive force to stop ourselves. Which I'm assuming this is, well, I mean, I don't know, because then I'm getting, this is so weird. All right. Let me add an additional print here. Okay. So I mean, maybe it's the case that, I mean, I don't know. Because I'm adding these values together. What happened here? Hey, Denon. I've noticed that I have noticed that everyone that disagrees with me is ugly and dumb, but everyone that agrees with me is smart and pretty. Awesome. That's really nice. So what happened? Where was my jump? When did my jump happen? Because I should have jumped and then like maybe a half second later. My speed should read positive. Like I should have like a 1 tick. Read of like 4 meters. There we go. So this is my jump. Yep. And then like 0.7 seconds later, I land. My speed is -3 into the ground. I have a spring force of -3, a damping of -4, which adding them together is just negative. I can't apply a negative force. It's only the values get positive that it matters. Then I have a spring compression. Wait a second. Why is the spring force negative while the offset is positive? This doesn't make any sense to me. Oh no, that's speed. This is spring. Hey. Negative offset, positive spring force of a negative speed, which means I have a positive damping. So these sum up. And yeah, I get a tick here where I have, yeah, that's weird. I suddenly go from, well, I'm already going up at a ½ meter a second. And then I'm going up at 7 meters per second. So why did that happen? And these are being added, by the way, so at this point I'm not even adding any more to my speed. These get added together, these just zero out. Oh, that's weird. This is like a maximum compression. It's nearly as far down as it can go. But then I have a huge positive speed. It's strange. This is a weird thing that happened. I get a huge kick from this. Yeah, this doesn't really make any sense. Well, I guess these kind of added up quite a bit. I go from -3, -2, -1.5, -0.5, 0.5, and then I have this huge amplification of my velocity. Definitely I accelerate at a ridiculous rate because these values kind of make sense here. Alright, what was my spring force? I feel like something's just going wrong here. I'm going to go and pause and clear this. Alright. It's happened again. Okay. So here's my speed. Yeah, there's just this like ridiculous kick. I'm doing okay, so this cannot be my spring force. Something launches me here. Because my spring is saying, oh yeah, we'll do about 11. Like this is a gain of like 2 meters per second over the next second of acceleration. This one right here, I'm still at a normal speed. This is a gain of, this is actually a loss. I'm actually falling at that point. And then adding this force, I explode off of here at a huge velocity. So I guess let me sum up my additions and see what's happened there. Why do I launch? So the only one that could really come from this one definitely didn't do it. At least that doesn't make any sense to me. You know what? Let me see ticks, in fact. Well, the only thing it could really be is friction. So I guess I'm going to print out... Well, here's the weird thing. I think this must be from spring because I've tried this and this is not... This just started happening, right? So how am I printing that twice? Oh, because the other... Okay, I need to turn off. I gotta disable this guy. This guy's definitely eluding. Okay, so friction did give me a crazy huge kick. It did happen. But that wasn't before speed spike. So here's speed. Friction's actually pulling me into the ground. Friction's not launching me here. In fact, it seems like I then do another tick. Yeah, these forces are fine because they're not really affecting my speed. This is even less. Is it possible that I'm detaching and... I mean, okay. I think it's probably this. I've messed it up and now I'm adding spring multiple times in a single take. What? What? I didn't even calculate spring, but it says 230 right now. What? Wait, so I just added some ridiculous spring force, spring total force. Am I modulating this anywhere? Is that what's happening? I do modify it. Add a slip force by projecting gravity along the downhill vector. But this doesn't make any sense. Oh, I do multiply by mass. That's a mistake. It's not what's supposed to happen there. Oh, I think I understand why mass is involved now. Because it otherwise doesn't make it, it makes spring not work. Because that's supposed to be apply force. Okay. I understand. I have to keep mass included. I definitely have to keep mass included. Okay. So it should be... Man. Why did I do that? I gotta go look at the old code. Spring force is damp uses mass times that. Okay, so it's just mass. I just multiply by mass. Okay. Right. But I will print total force over mass so I can read it better. And then here I bring back that multiplication by mass. That's now included as mass because I use it as a force there. Inverse mass. That should be a solution to my problem. Yep, and I didn't launch off of it. Okay. So is that like is that a slip thing? Is that what's happening? It's a slip thing? Also, yeah, I see that. Okay. I think I probably should not be messing with this. When slipping, the spring disables itself. That's not true. Redirect gravity in the slip direction to prevent the spring from falling into surfaces while slipping. So the spring doesn't disable itself. And I've noticed this on slopes. This is like a small acceleration that applies and then doesn't get taken away or something. Because maybe I'm not in contact with the ground anymore. I don't even know. That doesn't make any sense. Gravity will always pull me down. Ugh. The spring disables itself. I guess this is the case where it is slipping. While it is true, the spring actually still will function. So maybe it means I'm supposed to say, is slipping, I calculate force. Or, well, yeah, it actually, yeah, so it disables itself here because this is an override, which will just force it to set to 0. Okay, so that's correct. It does disable itself. This is probably just wrong. This might be wrong. Maybe, I don't know. Alright, but it seems like I got it fixed. Seems like I've got it better. And I will go ahead and do a quick run around, I guess. See if anything strange happens. Let's turn these off. What is that number? What is that number? Right, slope offset. Do I even use that right now? Yeah, I'm not even using that anymore. Whatever. I'm trying to see if there's a, yeah, this effect. Not really sure if I like that. I mean, really, that just kind of stops me from climbing up walls. That's what that really does. And then here's this idea. And trouble doing heights using normal alignment. I would use this as a bias length down here. But only really work on very in certain cases. I guess yeah, it only really work on cases like around here. And I thought it was also causing me to jump. Yeah, what is this? So that happens because I touch that other angle and I say, oh, that's too slip. It's too slippy. You're gonna fall off of that. So I disable the spring and then I redirect gravity in that angle. Which then has the effect of putting me on the ground. But then there's the case of very steep slopes that like a technical solution to this would be to take that collision point, take the difference between my location and that location, and then project forward slightly in that same direction, and then do a ray cast down, check the normal of that surface. If that surface is flat, then I say, oh, that's flat ground. I can stand on that. That's okay. If it's not, then I say, all right, so this is a slippery surface. We need to slide. Red. Hey. Stay. Stay. I don't really want to do that though. But I guess it is actually logical to do that. But that can really add up. What I could say is ignore this contact and recast for a better surface. And if I fail to find that, then I add it back and maybe I cast again but project it slightly in that same direction to see if it's a better surface ahead. But now this is probably too many ray casts. I just don't want to do that. I don't want to do another raycast. This should be... I can also just ignore that, and I probably should just ignore that. Alright. Here's an idea. If I start slipping, I could change the raycast to be a slightly smaller shape while I'm slipping. So if I'm touching a flat wall like this, or a small step, and I start sliding down, I shrink the sphere, and now the sphere raycasts down here, and this is where I'm standing, and then I can... I don't even know. That's probably not a good idea. Maybe what I can do is I can project it more away from the surface. Maybe that's possible. This is redirection of gravity, so I shouldn't do that. Yeah, why am I pushing up here? This is slipping. I should be slipping here. Because I'm coming off the ground. Is this like because I've moved this? I have. Okay. Let me change this back then. What? Interesting. That's really strange. What the hell? How has that messed with that? I'm like gliding frictionless on the ground now. Or maybe I've detached from the ground and I'm not falling, which doesn't make any sense either. That looks like slipping is being left on somehow when it should be turning off. It turns off every frame. What? I literally just changed the height of the spring and now I'm floating away. One sec. I'm back. Yeah, I'm not really sure. It's definitely the fact that I do a save state, but that I don't clear that. Oh, maybe I should just do it always. This dog. I don't know why he's barking right now. It's alright, buddy. And I'm just never in contact with the ground. What is going on? Such a weird thing that's happening. Okay, reset height to 0. Was that really the problem? Maybe it was. Okay, slow motion and walking. This is definitely a slip, by the way. 100% this should be a slip. Is it me adding this slope offset thing again? Wait, is that what I did wrong? Added that back on. And I just shouldn't be doing this anymore. Oh, okay. Gosh, what is going on, man? Thing is, I don't understand. If we're not colliding, length is infinite, normal is 0. Or it is infinite length. Last length is infinite, total force is 0. So what's happening here? Why do I accelerate up? Is it this? Is my spring force being left on? There I go. Okay. So spring force is somehow being left on. Even though I certainly clear spring total force every frame. Supposedly, even though I clear. Oh. Oh. No, I get it. I'm not always calling calculate. That's the mistake. Calculator is actually updating the force. I mean, I guess I just do spring total force. That's probably what I really do. Yeah, what is this? Also, why is it positive? I'm directing myself that way, but also up somehow. Oh, I guess this is because this is then added on to gravity as well. That's right. I mean, probably what I do, in fact, is actually go to gravity and read that and say if I'm slipping. Keeping my gravity, how far that way do I need to go to, like, maintain my relative offset from the ground? Is probably what I should be looking at. So I don't do that. Well, actually, I do that, but gravity should stay the same. So I'm really dotting. I mean, is that not the same? No, because I still want my downward velocity to still be negative 9.81. That should stay the same. But depending on my slip, I need to move that way some amount. So I guess in my mind this means if I'm going to move down negative 9.8, I'm on a 45-degree angle and this is my slip angle or something. That means I need to move that same distance away from the slope. At a 45-degree angle. Right. One sec. This Windows. Sun's too hot. And I'm actually going to stand now. So, leave the window open. Hello? Okay. I mean, I think what it really is that at a 45-degree angle, I still want to go down. I still want to accelerate at gravity down. I guess here's the problem. If I'm thinking about this in that way, then like a 1-degree slope to continue accelerating down at negative 9.8, I have to like fly off at a really high speed. Which means not what I should do, right? That's just not what I should do. One second. Okay. You know, I wonder if the spring just shouldn't disable itself. I wonder if once you start slipping, the spring can just start pushing you away from the surface, and that's all it does. Which is essentially just this calculation. I obtain a downhill direction. So I take my ground normal, I cross it with my gravity, get this vector, and take this vector, cross my ground normal, and I get downhill. I don't know, this just isn't correct, I think. Let me just skip this part. I skip that calculation, and then I think I just pass false to this. And I see what this does. Because that's, I mean, that's not really like the solution to my problems. It's probably just not the solution to my problem. Like, what was that? Was it the spring force? Did the spring force start getting? I mean, it definitely can't be. The spring force can only push me up. So I start like sliding up somehow. That's just something else. What what is happening there? Why am I floating up? Okay, so there's something else going on with some slipping thing. Something's happening here. Is it that stop is not happening? Is it this? If we're not slipping. I mean, it's probably this, right? But gravity's always pulling me down, so I don't understand. But I just gravity's always pulling me down and the spring is always pushing me up. Okay, 1 second. Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's just so many dumb things that are, like, working against me here. This part, if we're not slipping. That was, like, causing a bug earlier, but what it should be is that if I'm slipping, I should be going down. Like, I just don't want to spaghetti my way around this anymore. And I should be able to get a very accurate, a very good result if I just use common forces. A spring force, a friction force, a movement force, a jump force. So this is just a mistake with friction, really. I'm back. 3 kids called me uncle today. Oh. Did the music stop? No, it's just quiet. 3 kids called me uncle. They say uncle, or did they just say unk? U-N-C. Uncle. Alright, I mean, I think this is right here. Slipping is correct here. Right? We can only stop on the ground when we're not slipping. But I think what needs to happen is when I am on a surface that is too steep, it should also be that, like, I shouldn't be allowed to move into that surface, right? That's part of it too. So maybe it should be that forward, if I am slipping, recalculates to be... I mean, I guess I just take off any uphill from forward. So whatever's uphill, I slide that out from... Well, I do my own sort of slide. If they're aligned, I slide. If they're not, then I don't. But also, I don't understand a little bit. Didn't I make it so that this... Are we serious? We're saying this is not... Oh my god. What is your issue? What's the problem? There's no problem. It's just not showing me the settings for this right now. Why not? What's the... There's no... I'm gonna actually freak out and scream. What? Why won't it show me those... my options? Reload project. Tell me what's wrong. Please tell me what's wrong and why you can't load that. Oh, look, it's all there now. What the fuck? Literally, what the fuck? Also, I've noticed, why am I rendering... Am I rendering a thing? Oh, I think it's just the that line. Okay. Show me forward. It should be that when I walk into this, Okay, forward's correct there. I'm just not falling down it. So why is that? Why is that? Why am I not falling down? I can't stop. So stop would normally handle that. Is it really this? Is this really, like, super important to have? Okay. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring this out here and make this part of gravity instead. Just the straight up gravity implementation instead. I mean, this just must be correct, I think. This must be the right way to do it. I'm like launching. What the hell? What's going on with that? That's crazy. Why am I launching like that? What's launching me? Is it really? It can't be the jump. I don't think so. I mean, it kind of looks like it's the jump. Hmm. Downhill. Wait, no, I want to... Hang on. This isn't quite right. I want downhill times... What? Oh, yeah, that's correct. Okay, so it's not jump. Okay, so that's a... Whoa. That's the mistake. I see it. That's the mistake. I wasn't using it as an acceleration. I mean, probably what I do is I just turn off air control. I think I turn off air control and that stops happening completely, right? Like if I were to do that. And run this. I can't bounce up walls or anything. Also, this is probably why I should be doing this, multiplied by the cosine theta. Maybe it is just that air control needs to... You need to be in the air for some amount of time before you can use it. Like a full second of air time or something first. Or just a lower value. Like 0.3. Might be okay. I may also be... You know what it should probably just be? It should probably only be air. It should probably only be acceleration multiplier and not limit. Just acceleration. Because then I can have it be like that. What if I included this again? This is like counting it twice, but... So I just noticed, is this a problem? I see it flashing to the right every now and then. I don't know if that's really a problem. I mean, that's okay now. Do I still have the weird slip down? Trying to make it happen. It's weird. It's not happening anymore. And I kind of don't understand why. But also I am now a little bit annoyed that I'm seeing this like arrow flash a little bit. Which means like if you're going up with a staircase like perfectly straight, you're actually going to be occasionally flipping You're gonna be going the wrong way eventually. If you go to prison, someone asks you to make a salad. Well, I'm not planning on going to prison. I also don't think I'll be making food for anybody as well. If anyone asks me to do something, I'm going to say no. I'm not going to do whatever they're talking about. More of that. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, I was, no, I am definitely still pushing off the ground or whatever. Okay. Yeah, I'll refrain from doing that. This is a weird interaction, but I'm not sure how I feel about it. Wow, I'm tired. I stayed up like too late 2 nights in a row. That's my problem. I'm just not sure how I feel about this. Like, it's fine when they're different colliders, but when it's like... I mean, maybe that's just the thing. These are the same collider, and this is not what should be happening, right? Those should be 2 different colliders. I shouldn't have an object that has that kind of shape. Wait a second. I think I might understand what I should do. I think what I do is I take the shape, and instead of adding an ignore, I just shrink the shape. Or perhaps I just do... Nah, I should probably shrink the shape. So if this happens, and I don't like that... I don't ignore the contact. I should make the shape smaller. Bro really said I understand it now. Or what I could do is I could reproject it onto that position again. Or just do a ray cast. Do like a very small sphere cast down. I don't... spring shape. Can I give a negative margin? Can I use negative margins? I'd like to know if I can do that. I think there's nothing stopping me from using a negative margin. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe. Oh man, let me just do a raycast down from where I'm standing and get the normal that way. Maybe that's a better way to go about this. No, because I'm actually using the spring state, so I actually do want to have... Oh, okay, so here's the problem. If I make the shape smaller, I have to extend the length of the cast as well. So I can't just do that. But I need... I would love to just be able to somehow ignore an individual shape. That would be great if I could do that. But I can't do that. Wait a second. I could technically go in there and turn off the shape, but I probably shouldn't do that. I could disable the shape, recast, and then turn the shape back on. But I'm pretty sure... I don't know, it does kind of suck. Because the geometry of these things are weird. Which means if I have just a complex object, I could just do a raycast down from where I'm standing already. That probably makes more sense. Oh, heck it is. Can I... I could store like the location of the last good floor and have like some margin where I say, okay, I'll remember that position and I will keep using that position until I'm 10 centimeters away, or like 5 centimeters away from it or whatever. Maybe like 10. Once I'm 10 centimeters away, then I can't use that floor anymore. I have to find floor underneath me. But that doesn't work for moving platforms. You would immediately lose your footing. So that can't be used. Like, if I could just disable part of the shape or somehow recast from that current point, or just, I don't know, cast further? Maybe I just do, I don't know. Because what it does is it will do the cast, it stops on the first contact, and it checks to see all of its intersections because it could have more than one intersection, and returns all of those. And I can't push it further than that. I have it set up to ignore that entire object, which can work for small things on the ground, so I'm not like flipping over them or whatever. But if it's like a single object that has a large step in the middle of it, and I do this, I can't just ignore then that extra floor. You know, I think what I do is I don't just ignore that. I grab the collider, spring collider shape, ID of the shape colliding of one of multiple collisions. Can I do like physics server UED shape? Body set shape disabled. It's probably better to do it like this, right? I'll just turn the shape off and then turn it back on. I don't know if that works here. It probably doesn't work here. Yeah, it's not working because I'm like pushing off of it instantly. Alright, I'm gonna go for the shrink the shape and recast for a better surface. So what I will do is I take not entirely sure if changing the shape, like, I mean, it should. What is custom solver bias? Nothing. Shrink it by this much. Yeah, sure. Just like any value. I could shrink it by, I was gonna say half. Why not? Do half. And then I will have to make the target position longer. And then also move the height offset. So whatever I'm going to extend this by, so the difference between the old radius and the new radius is the extra offset. Oh, no, that doesn't work. That actually kind of just doesn't work. Alright, you know what? For now, the old way that it works is suitable enough. It's just weird when I have those, which I will still have to figure it out. And I think the best way to go is to shrink the shape and well, the collider also works, so I can still leave the collider there. Collider is the same as ignoring the body. I'll just disable the shape and then turn it back on. So that solves this from happening. Or not. I guess it doesn't. So never mind, it doesn't do it. I'm still just walking into it like it's, whatever. Are we undoing individual things, by the way? What is this? In one run, it's like, oh yeah, I'll delete like 20 letters, and the next one it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna delete one letter at a time, and I've launched myself. Yeah. Yes, you know that works. But then here it doesn't work. just launch right off of it. I don't know, maybe I need to have this still be turning the spring off, because that's probably part of it, right? But now this means I'll like fall into the ground a little bit when this does happen. Yeah, that happens, which is just a bit annoying. Is there a possibility that when I'm slipping, I do, like, I don't apply the spring force, but I apply the damp force? Possibly. I'm never going to get anything done, man. This is just... Okay. We turn it off when we slip. Which I think is correct. Right. Okay. Maybe what I do is I have... Maybe I could literally just use a second smaller spring and set that up. And when the first spring fails, I use the second spring. To see if that gives me a better ground. And if it does, then I use it. I could do that. Okay, that's gonna be the idea. I think I just keep a second spring that's just not really ever... It's turned off all the time. It doesn't update on its own. And if the first spring fails because the ground is too steep, then I try the second one. And I see if I have better ground there. Right? Okay, that's a good one. I could do that now, but I mean, I seriously have like been totally screwing around for way too long on this stuff. So I did not mean to close that one. I would like to keep that one open. All right, crawler bot. Re-enable it. Watch it fly to the sky. Yep, it's just gone instantly. I think it's on the screen for like 3 frames if I'm, or like for a quarter of a second if I'm already in super slow motion. I don't know what's going on with this guy. I don't know what his springs are doing. What's happening there. Alright, but I've got all of those. I just have like springs set up. Legs update. Desired acceleration is the negative. Gravity times mass. Which is kind of a weird. It's kind of weird. I think it should be like that. Okay, there we go. Why is it moving forward though? Oh, it does want to go forward. Okay. So I do leg update. I update each leg. So each leg has this. We have a shape cast and we have a target. Target is top level. Shape cast will just kind of be scanning forward and saying, all right, do I see ground? Am I too far away? Then we need to move the leg. All right, let me go through this. I think I'm just gonna close this. Let me review what he says he does. Exactly.
Object is a spider with a procedural walking animation. Its movements are generated in real time to adapt to its surroundings. Here, I created a spider with 4 chains for legs. Let's accelerate the body forward. If each leg gets too far away from its rest position, let's tell it to return to the rest position.
So the rest position is not necessarily... Let me go back to this one. Why does he use raycast here?
Angling them slightly.
Let me go back over what he does.
Positions for our targets easier. Get the targets into a place you're happy with. At the moment, if we move the scene's root node, the IK targets will move too. We can set the transform to top level so they will ignore the parent's movement when the game is running. Let's add a script to our robot so we can move around. Attach a script and at the top export 2 variables to hold the move speed and turn speed. Then in process, let's get our input directions and translate and rotate accordingly. You may wonder why I'm using rotate object local instead of rotate Y. Using rotate object local like this means we're always rotating around the object's local Y axis, regardless of its global orientation. This means it will work while we're standing on a wall or upside down. Now let's add our bot to the main scene and try it out. To handle walking, our IK target is going to track its distance to a step target. Unlike our IK target, this step target node will not be top level, so it will move along with our spider. If the distance gets too far, we'll move our IK target to the step target's position. Let's begin by setting up our step targets. First I'm going to add a node 3D called step target container, which we'll need for later. To make things quicker, I'm copying the IK target nodes, removing top level and renaming them to step target. We want our step
So I guess the
targets
idea is
to
that
always
every time you have a
align.
successful
So I'm then
collision,
positioning ray
you-
cast nodes at the step targets, angling them slightly and moving them up. The angle helps when attempting to walk up 90-degree surfaces. To position our step targets to the floor, create a new script and attach it to the rays. Get a reference to our step target node, and then in the physics process, if a hit point is found, move the target position.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, I just want to make sure that's what was going on there. Okay, so we do update. Move targets to collision point if shapecast is colliding, which maybe... I think part of it is that when we run in here, we set all of that. So yeah, why do the legs not update then? Seems like the legs don't move. Yeah, they're not moving. So for debugging, what I can do is I can put on all of these targets. I can add a small mesh. Are these like disabled or something? Oh wait, all the collision masks are... Well, I would say they're wrong. They're not actually wrong because they will get updated when it loads. Wait, is there a rigid bot here? Collision and mask. Okay, so weird. What's supposed to happen is when this loads, this goes... Does it not have any of the legs set up? Oh, I didn't set up any of the legs. Well, that would make sense. That would actually make a lot of sense. Why nothing was happening. So if I were to reload this scene and look at the cast, now they all have the right target. Okay. Okay, cool. All right. Did I already? Oh yeah, like rework this. Okay, let me... I gotta get this cleaned up and commit some of this stuff. So I've changed this to now use a spring cast. Set up the springs. I'm gonna send that individually, actually. Remove. Oh, that's weird. There's like this mirror. I guess there's glass and I can see a reflection on it. It was like warping a tree, and it's a little bit windy, but it made the tree look like it was moving way more than it actually was. I was like, wow, what is it, a hurricane? Okay. I might get rid of this line though. This line's gotta go away. Those prints I want to keep there because I might still go back to that. Okay. Oh, player scene changed? Oh, yeah, player scene changed. I deleted character, apparently. Not even sure how that happened, to be honest. Because I don't think I actually got rid of that. I really don't know how that happened. I'm assuming it just didn't save or there's some kind of crash. I don't know. Okay. Okay, so this is just a change to how I do leg pairs, or yeah, just legs. All this stuff moved around, then I created a leg thing. Yeah, another that. And I have just realized this. This one still has air control at 0.5. But I changed it here to be 0.2. Do I still slide off walls, or can I still just walk up them? Yeah. So, alright, I can still use that. Full scene changed. These changed. Did that a little bit. Yeah, okay. And I guess I can turn off debug. Um, cool, okay. Then I'll go and rename leg pair now that I've committed this change to it. Okay. Does input manager... Nah. Okay. Mass with value float on object type shapecast 3D. That's just not actually incorrect. That's exactly what it's called. Dude, Godot has like added some bugs, man. They've added some crazy bugs. Every now and then my thing is like not real or something like that. Also, why do the legs look like that? Is it because of this? Nope. Okay. None of that. And let me do this. Let me do this. Let me say if I'll run that up there and then don't do any of this. Well, yeah, I'll do this. Thing is, these are technically like set as top level, so when they load in, they don't load in the correct location. Is the problem right now. Those targets don't load in the correct location. But I'd still like... I mean, I guess I don't actually know for sure. Some stupid errors happening. I want these to move with it while we're in the editor, but if we're not, I also don't get physics in the editor. We should do that. Yeah. I think I just do that. Okay, so that just didn't work. Oh, I think it's because when this is ready. Yeah. Okay. When this is ready, their children are actually readied at the same time. So yeah, okay. No, I'll just do this. Why are they doing that? Why are they doing that? Oh man, okay. If engine is editor hint, then target dot set that to false, and the transform should be multiplied by my transform. I think it's like parent times child, right? Nope. Why? Why is it doing that? Really? Why did everything just move out? Okay. Okay. This is making me upset. I don't know why it's... The scene didn't even change, apparently. Apparently nothing's even changed. So... What's going on? Take this off. Why are they in the wrong place? Oh man, why are they in the wrong place now? Why are they not where the raycasts are? I'm perplexed right now. I don't understand what's going on. I think I'm being lied to. I am being lied to. Look at that. Also, what do you mean big? Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, look at that. All the transforms are moved a little bit. Or did they? No, what? Some of these did move a little bit, but not all of them moved. What is happening? Okay. Like, I definitely closed the scene, opened the git diff, and it didn't look any different. And then I opened the scene again, and then it was different still after turning the code off. And then I closed the project, then it finally was like, oh yeah, this is it. Like, it kept it in memory and didn't save it until I closed the project. Okay, now they intersect with those, which is where I want it to intersect. But then this looks wrong here. So what do I do? What do I do about that? What I do is I say, if we're top level running in game, I do top level true, and I say fix transforms when in the editor. Okay. Yeah, that of course just makes a lot of sense right there. Yeah, what the hell? Maybe what I do is if we're in editor, I just turn off the IK. Maybe that's what I do. I turn off the IK. Yeah, what are these? They are iterate IK. Yeah, let me just do that. Why are they moving further and further up? Yeah, okay. Gosh, you're so stupid, Godot. You are. So dumb. Why did it just move these up? I am not moving them up. I'm not moving them up. I'm literally not moving them up. Why did they just move up? Also, why is the IK on right now? Why is the IK on? Oh, because it doesn't do that. Okay, but it still has just moved it up, which means I have to reload because it's not updating from disk for some reason. It's not updating from disk. I don't know why it's not doing that. It's just continuing to load the version that is wrong. It's still doing it. It's still doing it. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? Can we be serious right now? Why is it translating them up? I don't do that anymore. I turn that off. Right? Right? I turned that off? Did I turn that off? Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I didn't turn that off. Maybe I'm losing my mind. Godot feels like taking a really long time to start up this time as well. Just to make me extra mad. Well, let's go for one of those 10x slowdown startups. One of those, please. Oh, I am. Yeah, all I do is I just turn off when I'm in the game. Okay. What's happening here? Right? Okay. But then they don't. Yeah, they don't update. They don't track. So okay, they stick with it. Now what about here? Targets move with it. Okay. That's cool. And other targets are in a weird location again. Alright, so they're slightly off, like that. So I go here, move this around. Undo. Back. Right, they're just going to continue to move further and further away. Okay. think I just do that. Huh? What? Okay, so it's still... I just want the markers to follow. Maybe that's what I'm looking for. Now they're gonna follow. And if I go here, hit save, I do reload, move up, I'll just hit save. Okay. They're not moving around. This one's not moving around weirdly either. Okay. Great. That's something. I've got some extra lines here that I don't really want to have. Lots of extra lines that I don't want to have. Okay. Disable IK and like target top level when in the editor. Yeah. All right. Hopefully what I just did there doesn't come back later to hurt me. Like if I do some other change and then it's gonna fail or whatever. Okay. So, now what I like to do is I like to say, maybe just start with saying, yeah, I'm just gonna make it so that it can like, it'll step. It's gonna step now. But where is rest position? Where's rest position? Yeah, how do I define rest position? Because I have leg targets. Wait, I was gonna add meshes, but I didn't do that. Whoops, I just committed a random mesh. Okay, whatever. That's fine. I mean, I guess I can leave it there and add them in. I don't know. Sure, I'll do it. Should probably be like a debug thing, really. So what I think I'd want to do is probably from the targets, when I load in, I'll duplicate them and use those as my rest position. Wait. No. I leave these targets. What each leg is doing is it's not moving this. It's updating a location. It's updating a location. Okay. A step target will be initialized to the location of target. There. And then what I do is I say, whenever I find a good spot, step target's going to be there. And I don't do any of that. And then whenever I get a new step target, I guess this is the case where it's deciding to update its position. So yeah, I just for now, I'll just say we update a step target. Then I guess I can just do, yeah, check here. And I'll have an export. .5 or something. Target position. Yeah, let me say this. And I'll just have that. Right. Okay, so they're not doing that. Interesting. I guess this is because this is not actually set up when it loads, which is why that always sucks. So I don't do that anymore because I hate that, having to do that stuff. Alright, just do step distance times step distance. Why can't I type hello? Also, why is... I just noticed it was like partially transparent too. Alright, then I do this instead. Cool. Right. So I guess for this crawler, I'll just turn up. Okay, well, I thought I was going to turn up the distance a little bit. I guess I'm not, because this thing is still weirdly broken and just not updating. Why? Why is it like so... It refuses so much. I don't know. I don't understand. I have to reload the project for that now. This is like a weird bug that's twice now this happened. I'm getting mad. Why is it still not there? Because they're on crawler leg. Of course. I have to set each leg. Also, let me just rename these to leg. Just constantly losing it. All right. Ooh. Let's just turn these all to one. And then I can make it I could also possibly go in there and have each leg have a different step distance. Right. Okay. Alright, let's put it on like... Let's just have it go this way. Okay. Alright, so now what I think I do is I'm getting lasered. 1 second. I make it so that we walk certain legs at a time. Or I guess I can have it do the rotation forward. So Yeah. So what I do is when I'm, depending on the direction I'm traveling in, I go to each one of these nodes and I spin it forward or spin it backwards. But well, I guess that just means I go through the pairs and I expect to see the left leg first and the right leg second. So what I can do is on update legs, right. Yeah, what am I thinking? Like a 20-degree or something? 25 degrees for the side legs and the front legs. What would the front legs do? I mean, I feel like these would almost like move forward. Like, okay. So now what I'm thinking is I just set up a translation where I say, all right, what rotation do we want? Or not even that. Yeah, just a transform. We interpolate from the normal transform to this transform, back to its base transform. When we're... Oh, I know, but what about walking backwards, though? I mean, I don't know, maybe it can just still be like a 20-degree rotation here. That's probably okay. Don't do that. I'm just going to mark all these with locks. But of course I have to then... Oh my gosh. Go through each one of these. What is it? Control L? I can just do this actually. Oh yeah, okay. That works. Okay. Cool. Can't really click around. I mean, maybe it's like the leg pair translates forward slightly, and then these will rotate. That's probably better. Maybe that's better. How can I do that? No. No, 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 no. I could have each, I could also just have these be leg pairs. I could use offset nodes. So what I can do is well, actually, if I treat the z-axis as the axis that I can translate along, and they should stay at 0, then I can translate this forward and give it a rotation. So I could do this. Let's go non-local. I could do that, and then translate it forward slightly. And these should be its rest positions. But possibly in this case, it should actually be rotated like that and brought forward. Okay. So I think for each leg, I have an offset when in forward motion, and I just apply the opposite when I'm in backwards motion. Or maybe not. Maybe I just have an offset when I'm in motion. And then this moves forward or backwards depending on which way we're actually trying to go. Okay. So rotation would be... I was going to say rotation would be always constant, but then that doesn't work for here. Because I believe the back legs should... they should essentially do this. They'd move forward. And then they would rotate in like 20 degrees. So this is where they're trying to stand while moving forward. And then while moving backward, they would do the same thing but come down like this. Right, so it's the same rotation either way. Now the issue is with the middle legs, where I might say a 20-degree rotation forward and then up. So this is where they want to be in the rest position while moving forward. But then moving backwards, they would actually do this. They'd want to be over here. I guess I could check if we are a front or a back leg. And if we're a front or a back leg, we always use the same rotation. And for the middle legs, we can invert it. That's probably it. Yeah, I think that actually makes sense. So I'll set on each leg a step distance. A translation. So when we go forwards or backwards, this is how far we translate. Maybe 0 or 1. Maybe we'll do like move offset. So like 0.2 as a default. But in motion, oh, far to how far? Do I say that these can only move forward? Probably, right? It would be definitely more interesting if they could decide to like strafe sideways or something. How far in the direction of motion, or in the direction of travel, to shift the step? Um, it's at 15 degrees. For front and back legs, this is always into the body. I guess always. Back legs, the leg only rotates forward or backward respectively. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so this means is, I guess I can tell each leg that we're moving, and then it will do like an interpolation, you know, there or not, right? But it does actually matter. So while those are contained on the leg, they're actually only applied here in update legs. So I guess what I do is I say, check my desired direction. For each shift, I guess. So I'll say if desired where's this? I guess I should say stationary is 0 or desired speed is 0. I mean, I guess I might just say this. I kind of don't like that. Probably size. Index is less than 2. Index is greater than if I have 4. Last thing to be 2, 4 minus 1, 2. I guess I say that. So if the size is 2, we have 2 legs. They'd both count as being front and back legs. What am I gonna think? 2 legs. First index is 1. 2 minus 1. 2 minus 2 is 0. Okay, that's right. We're not stationary. I will do some translation interpolations. So I will shift. I'll shift the target. So I'll say I take my other direction, and oh, that doesn't really work. I can only move it forward or backwards, but I actually want to I want to be able to shift it left and right. Then I have to remember I could provide each leg the desired direction. That's probably good enough, because then they can manage like an offset counter or something. Or when they load in, they can save their base position, and then they can interpolate themselves away or to a target and then back to their base whenever they want. Because I would like them to be able to move sideways. They should be able to move sideways. There's no reason they can't. So okay. Let me look at this. Let me look at something really quick. Because I know they do this like memo thing. Look at like. You have an update memo. So there's a bunch of stuff. So this is calculating its rest position. Trigger zone. Ugh. This is really weird. Having a variable named chain and a function named chain. Wait, no, he's setting chain. This is what? Yeah, dude, Colin's wild. How do you know which one of these it is? I'm gonna guess you see the equal and you're like, okay, that must be a function. Or that must be a variable, right? Then he's setting it to this. That just looks crazy. That's just so crazy. Yeah, I don't know. Okay. Thinking about too many things. I just have to give this leg. Jeez, I'm like daydreaming. Because what I like to do is I like to go and update and it do some stuff ahead of time where it just says, you know, what's my desired direction, right? Maybe the legs should know their parent. Let's say that the legs should know their parent. Okay. And then that's kind of all I need to know at that point. And these can do their own determination, I think. Let me also give them an index. All right, I'm actually gonna wrap it up there. Yeah, I'm kind of a little bit out of it, but I got a little bit done. I mean, you saw at one point it was actually able to move and the legs were stepping, but yeah, I'm kind of, I get it here for today. Thanks for watching. I'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully I'll start making some more progress on this, because like the last 2 days I've mostly just messed around with the spring thing, so it's bothering me. But yeah, I'm going to stop myself. I gotta stop doing that, and I need to work on this. So I'll be back tomorrow at the normal time, earlier than this. So yeah, thanks for watching. Goodbye.